Okay, back to my screen again. So I'll be sharing from this and this. Okay, so back to the class or back to my slide. Um, Let me drop this slide also. Anyway, just for I'm going to drop this slide. At the end of the class, I have a small tutorial, file that has more details about this, about everything we are going to learn. I'm going to send that, by Saturday. I'm going to forward that on this forum also. It has more details. This slide just gives, just points on what we want to do, while every other thing is going to be practical actually. As much as we are also aware that, I mean, Google, you have so many tutorials and so on that's freely available online. So you can as well, build your knowledge from there. Um, Definitely, this class won't be able to go as deep as it should due to constraint of time and so on. But you know, the whole idea is open your understanding to the features that are available, and then we can take it, and then you can, grow or take it up from there. Um, there's no limit to knowledge anyway. So I've just dropped the slide um, there. So yes, I believe my screen is being shared. Okay, so we have the Excel for day-to-day operation. This is going to be major of what we are going to function on, of what we are going to learn is going to be in this particular segment. So yeah, I have some very practical usage case. As much as possible for those who probably are getting used to Excel gradually. Excel is not only useful to us at work or when you or it's not just like an academic exercise. It's a skill that could help not only in your day-to-day work, if or but also in your own business and stuff like that. So for instance, if you have a shop where you sell either online or offline, or a brick and mortar shop, you keep track of, if you're not using, an accounting software, you don't have an accountant who keeps track of your records, there's nothing wrong in you having an Excel sheet that you keep details of your inventory, and you can, pinpoint what and what is left on a daily basis, keep track and keep records of movement in and out, and so on. This is not a beginner class. If not, we would have created a simple inventory, Excel worksheet. So and not just that, even on your mobile devices now, you can synchronize your file both on the desktop and also on your phone. So you can use that to, instead of, I still, like my wife still does that, keep a record inside one book and so on. You don't know when you're going to stock out, or when you lost, or when you've your stock, when you're out of stock, stuff like that. When you are making profit, how much should you sell? What should be the minimum price you should sell, an item and things like that. You can do many of these things in Excel. Same thing for contact management. For if you, not just only for organizations that probably handle customers, but even for individuals, you you have list of people's birthday, you want to keep track of it as an individual, or you you have your own business, you meet clients and things like that. You want to keep track of every person. Excel is going to, make these things very, very useful for you. Then for sales marketing, um, there's a tool, for instance, under sales and marketing. I don't know if we are aware of it, like Zapier. Zapier, for instance, Zapier works with your Excel file. You keep your contacts on an Excel file, and at any point you update this contact, you can, you know, string, or what will I say, retrieve these details and send maybe automated email, automated messages, SMS, email notifications, and so on whenever when your Excel file is being updated. Or you want to send marketing emails and so on. It's more appropriate when you save your file and it's well structured in an Excel file. It makes it easier for many of the automation tools that you're going to be making use of for email notification, or for mass emails, or for bulk emails, or even for SMS. You can customize those notifications and those emails and so on as much as the data you have available in your Excel file. So definitely for accounting and for finance, even when you are running, when you are using a dedicated software, sometimes you want to do some, further analysis and so on whatever data you've extracted. Excel, it's a very, very powerful tool. I'm sure we are very much aware. So um, this this class, sometimes we do have data, or we have the information, but usually there's a problem of working on it further. Either the data or the format of the data is not the way it should be, but we have it. So in this class, we're going to see the different tools that are going to help us to, streamline our data, break it down properly, um, in the process of transforming your data into information or into something that's presentable. There's definitely some actions which you have to take. So this class is going to show us some of these actions that we are going to take, to make our data more presentable, more meaningful, and so on. So the first thing I'm going to start with is, okay, the first I'm going to start with is the list. I have a dummy data I got, so I'm going to start with that. Let me share the file now. I I just want to confirm, can we see the Excel file I have here? I just want to confirm we can see the Excel file I have. I think it's best I just share the screen directly. Okay, can we see the Excel file as I'm switching between Excel and PowerPoint, please? Okay, thank you very much. That's great. Okay, so let's start with a list. I know the first item is list validation, but before we can say we want to validate a list, we just need to have an idea of what a list is. So basically, this spreadsheet you can see here, uh, this are those columns of items, dates, ship dates, units sold, and so on. So this is a dummy data anyway, but just a typical information on what any data could look like. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to just copy a section out of it here. Let me write off what is here.
Let's go to. You didn't put oil in this thing.
Okay, so this is what I'm trying to do now. We
So
have
you've done your.
region and country, right? Yes, I have to
Yeah, put it on.
mute
Let's log that in.
all. Which
Your
one mute
expenses.
all? Mute all. Great. I'm not on mute. Good. Okay. So we have region and we have country. Yeah. Now, this is what we are trying to achieve. So let's say, for instance, I want to create an inventory book. I have my item, I have date, I have description. What else again? I have amount, then I have other details, right? So usually what I'm supposed to do, so this is just a typical, just a very simple typical inventory book, meant to do what? Populate the inventory, then add dates, description, amount, and other details. Let me say country. Now, if I'm populating this list, ideal thing would have been to say cereal. Let me go back to this record. So fruits, baby food, cereal, vegetables, and so on. So I say vegetables, I say vegetable, I say fruits, I say fruits. As you can see, I've entered some data here. Then I enter the date, then the description, and stuff like that. However, if you note what is here, this is not good enough. And the reason is this: there's possibility for me to enter series here and then come back to enter series here. So if, for instance, this Excel file is being updated by more than one person, so human error can come in. People enter, some will enter vegetable instead of vegetables, some can enter it this way, and so on. And so for that reason, for this particular column, and the implication is this: when you now want to analyze, filter, sort, or do any other operation based on each item here, you're going to run into um, issues. And the issues is you'll be having the same item but appearing in different forms. That doesn't um, make good for a proper, analysis. So it means that any item here has to follow specified guidelines, has to be the way we want it to be. In fact, it means that we need to closely monitor, closely ensure that whatever any human or anybody is typing into this place is what we want it to be. And so that is where the issue of list validation, comes in. So this particular section, for instance, and then probably this particular section also, we could also apply for, in fact, we could apply for everything here. So let's just drill down into that and see how we can ensure that whatever is being entered there follows the guidelines that we want it to be. So let's start with the item segment here. So like I said, we want items to be entered here, but we want them to be the way we want them to be. So a typical solution is going to be validating that whatever comes in here is from a specified source. So for that reason, we define a source. Now, if I want to ensure that whatever is entered here is only from a specified source, then it means I have to define that source first. So I can create a sheet here and call it source. Let me just pick items from my data here. And so I have item type. Let me call this my list of items. So I have item type. Definitely the reason why I pick out data like this is some other things will come in which will, if you don't know, if in case you don't know, you'll be able to, you just learn along. And that is, this particular column has baby food, cereal again, clothes. I can't use this as my source because it's not unique. Ideally, a list or whatever I want here should be unique. There's no point having cereal appearing twice. So a quick way of doing that is to highlight this particular column, and then I do what? I remove duplicates. Let me move this. Okay. So I can just quickly apply this duplicate function here, and that takes out duplicates and leaves just unique items. 88 duplicates remove 13 unique items. So now this makes more sense. And then, like we said, I want whatever I'm imputing here to only come from here. The best approach is to create something like a drop down. And to do that is a sub function under this, under the data validation. Here, I have the data validation, this thing, it's under data. Remember, these are tabs on the ribbon. If you are using Excel from Excel 2013, the interface of Excel is more of ribbon. So you have under each of these tabs, you have the different functions that you can make use of. So here I have data, and then the same place where I apply the remove duplicate function, I have the data validation. Now on the data validation, the first thing you see is the settings tab. Under the settings tab, you see the criteria. You see different criteria fields that can actually be used here. Now, for the purpose of this, we are still going to go through each of these. I'm going to select the list, but let me just run through each of these ones we have here. Here we have any value. That is the default criteria field here, which means anything goes. That's exactly what it means. Sorry, let me just check the charts in case. Okay, good. So I have any value, which means anything goes. That is the default criteria value. Then I have whole number. If you still remember your maths, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, not 10 point something and so on. Then we have decimal, which is 10.12, 10.2. And then you have lists, which we are going to use. We have dates, we have time, we have text length, and then we have custom. So even if I'm unable to demonstrate each of these for us, but they are quite very simple and intuitive to follow. So here, I'm going to make use of lists. When I select lists, it's going to ask for the source. My source, you can either click this button here let's go this simple, not too fast way. So I click on this button here, come to this source. I can either select it right from the column heading or select just the range. You can select the range if probably you want to enter more items below it, which are not going to be part of that list. But ideally, your list should be per column. I'm going to show us more columns that we can create. So you can actually have more columns, but just ensure that it is for that particular column. So I'm just going to select this, click here again, and then that is my source. So if you come back to the item, you can see that the items that have been from the source are being populated here. So that means the whoever is imputing the information has to select from here. Now that is not all. If I come back to data validation, we have specified the criteria. It must be from a list. Then we've also specified the source. We also now need to do some other things too, which is the input message. This particular section is like a tooltip. What it does, it informs the user that when a user hovers on that particular cell, it informs that user that this is what you should do, no more like an information. So I can say info, please select from the drop down. If I click OK, as you can see, when the user comes to that particular section or to that particular cell, sorry, the information is displayed. Please select from the drop down. There was a typo error there. Pardon me for that. Now we go to error alert. Now in the error alert, there are three forms of errors, or how would I put it, of controls. Actually, I call it control. Now, the first one, the error alert tells user whenever the user or the imputer enters anything different from what is from the criteria specified. So, for instance, stop means the imputer, whatever if sorry, if a different um, data is imputed from what is specified, Excel won't allow that action to continue. Stop. So the title is, I can call it stop wrong data imputed. Right? If it is warning, it's going to notify the user, you've entered the wrong data here. Do you want to continue or not? If it is information, it will allow the action to go. I mean, for the wrong information to be entered. However, it will notify the user. So basically, that's what it means. So I'm going to leave it on stop and let's try and see. So if I enter something different, it's going to tell me wrong data imputed. You have to retry. It means I have to specify only what is inside this list. However, if my data validation is warning. So if, for instance, that's why I said they are control, in the sense that how strict do you want the control to be? Do you want it to be very, very strict, strictly what is in the source list? Or are you a bit liberal with the control? Okay, the user is notified that, hey, you are entering something outside of source list, but okay, fine, we'll give you the option of going ahead if you want to. Notes, let me say check. This is a warning. So as you can see, if I enter Zion, wrong data imputed, do I want to continue? Yes. And then it allows me to continue. And then again, for the last one, which is information, let me say notes. I come back, I impute Zion, and then it says wrong data imputed, but it allows me to go on. So that's that for data validation. The very important aspect of data validation is that, especially in the control aspect, it makes sure, it ensures that your data, back to my, it ensures uniformity in data input, and then it limits the data collection to, to specify parameters. So this is especially very useful when you have multiple people or multiple users, updating that particular worksheet, maybe people on different sheets or multiple staffs working on the same sheet. It's very important that you ensure data validation, you specify data validation rules on, specific Excel where human knowledge is not really, is not really needed. So same thing for under the date, for instance, some people will enter their data as this 06/2020. Some will enter it as 25 June 2020. Well, Excel is auto correcting that for me. But and some will mistakenly or inadvertently enter text. So in order to ensure that the date is as it should be, because especially when you now want to analyze your information, you want to analyze the data, and then you probably are you're sorting by date or filtering by date. Things like this are going to mess up your data and not going to present the right information. So you also, specify um, data validation rules there and ensure this is date. And then you can also just, not just only that, you can go beyond, you can specify the date range, that is between, not between, equal to, not equal to, greater than, and so on. So if, for instance, our particular, this particular worksheet is only for items or data in the year 2020, then we can, specify that. And my end date, that is 31st 12. So let me specify the error alert there. Um, Active period is 2020. So as you can see, so if I impute a different year, it's going to stop me, right? So basically that's for that. Um, Let me just run through the other um, criteria there. You have time, which works more like dates also. You can specify the time. Now, time in Excel, let me just show you one particular trick depending on your Excel this thing. Yeah. So you are going to have dates, time, and so on. How is going to be, let me pick from 12 0000. So that's basically my time. (12:00 p.m.) and then my end time from, let's say, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., right? Where did I apply the validation? Sorry. So if I enter 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., 8 p.m., for instance, it's going to stop me. So that's just basically for that. Let me just run through. We have text length. So if there are reasons why the text, or maybe in terms of description, it shouldn't be probably beyond, not greater than, not sorry, greater than or equal to, no, not less than. For instance, if you want to limit the number of words to, you know 300 text and so on and so forth, like that. Maybe in this will be useful in a feed like description. um, you want to limit the whatever is imputed there, then you can. Then you have custom. Here you can also use formula to validate your data. So basically, in our spare time, we can, play around some of the other validation criteria here, and especially as it involves whatever data you are trying to impute. So that's that for data validation. Um Let me pause here if there is any question. Actually asking if there's any question, just in case I'm either going too fast or I said something not understandable to someone out there. Just have to take a pause. Um, Basically, there is no question along, so I guess I'll continue. Okay, so we've just touched on data validation, and I believe you understand it's a very important aspect of working with Excel on a day-to-day basis, especially if you are using your own workbook, you are sharing the workbook with other people, or other people are also imputing the data, or are also imputing data. Data validation ensures that controls are followed, guidelines are followed, and then at the end of it all, when analyzing that particular worksheet for information purpose, it makes it easier and it makes it cleaner when analyzing. So the next this thing we are going to touch on is conditional formatting. This one, while a a tool like data validation helps in the preparation of the file, or helps the groundwork, the background work in ensuring you have a clean data. A tool like conditional formatting is actually, now you already have your data, you want to analyze it. It's more of an analytical tool. Um, That's what conditional formatting is about. So, like I said here, it's a function within Excel to format cells and data according to specified criteria and parameters. You want to split the well, not split the data, but you want to classify data. You want to get more information. You know, you want to represent the data. You want to present different data based on different parameters, which we are going to see. Um, Conditional formatting is a very, very quick and a sharp tool to get that done. It's actually a very, very broad tool, I have to confess. I'm going to show us in a short while now what it's it's all about. So if for instance you have your sales data and you want to segment your customers based on you want to differentiate between your the big time customers, those who buy larger amounts, and those who buy smaller amounts. You go to conditional formatting. You want to segment your um, your customers based on country, based on certain information within their data, maybe those from Shomolu, maybe those from Bagada, and stuff like that. You use conditional formatting to quickly highlight them. You want to see your sales information at a glance, how it's dropping, where it's increasing, and so on. You make use of conditional formatting. So um, we'll go back to that Excel file. I have an example worksheet which I'll just run us through. But before I run us through that one, I'm going to show us just a quick um, preview before running us through. It's actually very wide. There are so many possibilities that can be gotten from it. So first thing first is, let me come back to our dummy data here. So for instance, we have region, country, item type, sales channel, and then we have units sold. Hello? Okay, sorry. I guess I muted. So, okay, yeah, my screens. So if we have this data, for instance, now I have maybe food, sales channel, order date, order ID, ship date, and so on. And I want to highlight the highest number of units sold. I want to pick the highest number of units sold. I want to differentiate them by color and so on. Say for each day that I sold items above 5,000. Good. Above 5,000. I want to see for those particular day. I come to the conditional formatting function here. You see it on your home tab, and then you see conditional formatting right here, and then you highlight sales rules. So there are predefined rules. Microsoft Excel already created there. So you can see greater than, less than, between, equal to, text that contains a date occurring, duplicate values. These are quick rules. Let me put it that way. These are quick rules to analyze your data. So for instance, like I was saying, any items above 5,000 naira, sorry, you highlight that particular section. Greater than 5,000. Then I specify what you can specify, how you want it to be displayed, and so on. and that's it. As you can see, for height, for units below 5,000 are not what, are not highlighted. Let's come here. If, for instance, I want to select only for sub-Saharan Africa, yeah, I want to highlight for sub-Saharan Africa. So yeah, I can use the text that contains sub-Saharan Africa. That's it. Let's come up with something else again. If I use this tool a lot, this duplicate values. So if you have this so much data, or you are looking for, you have in a column, you have mixed values or mixed data, and you want to pick out which one is duplicate without probably eliminating them initially, or you just want to, why am I, yeah, do I have duplicate, and then why am I having duplicate? This occurs a lot, especially when you are analyzing account information. Then, I mean, I make use of this quite a lot. If, for instance, you have um, you're a digital marketer, not just even a digital marketer, you have emails of, you have an email list, and you want to send a marketing um, information to that you want to send marketing information to everybody on that list, for instance. Now, you first thing you want to do is to clean up your list. So it means sometimes you want to verify, do I have duplicate emails? It's possible you have two different customers having the same, well, not different customers, but they are related customer, but probably signed up or whatever with only one person's email. So instead of just probably removing duplicate, you want to verify further, you want to confirm. Yeah, you can have, for instance, Zion appearing, Zion and Deborah signing up under the same email. The name is Zion, the email is zion@gmail.com, Deborah zion@gmail.com. You want to confirm, well, were these two different customers that's having, sign up under the same email and stuff like that, or same customer having two different emails. So the conditional formatting using the duplicate values helps you to, to make this investigation, and so clean up your data much more easily. I'm going to open a file here, and then we are going to see some formatting examples. I don't know if we'll have that time, but I'll just, just rush through it. This file is actually from Microsoft, um, and this is a sample data. Now, if, for instance, you have list of contacts and you want to pick, let me say, their date of contact whose date of birth is falling due for that particular month. You, for instance, this date, let us assume that these are people's dates of birth. So all of them were born in the year 2020, which is good. However, we want to select those. We are in the month of June, and so we want to pick those whose date is falling in the month of June. Now, in this particular instance, we could either make use of this dates occurring yesterday, this month. Now, please remember this is month, day, year. So this is a typical example. So these two people, Grain and Produce, sorry, that's their name, their date of birth is falling due for this month. So as you can see, it makes it easier, to highlight. Um, Here, in this particular example, actually, there were some custom formulas which I'm going to show us, but I'm just, trying to go the simple way. I believe most of the time you'll remember the very simple ones. And then when you create a rule on a file, let me go back to my example. I created about 2 rules here. As you can see, when you've created the rules, you can check out those rules. So these are rules, and then you can edit the rule, and then you can take it out also. So that clears it. If you want to clear the rule from every portion of the worksheet, and then I can delete the rule. Okay, so let me go back here. Now, in this particular example, if you check out this rule here, what they had here was for option D, and that's a cell value less than 500. We've already gone through that already. Um, yeah, there were 2 rules here. You can create multiple rules. That's what I'm trying to point out here. So you can, in this particular scenario here, the essence was to highlight um, information that is exactly or is equal to green. Now, we can either try the text format, or you can just specify in between. So let me just recreate it. So if I create a new rule, to do that, I create a new rule. I say format all cells based on their values, or format only cells that contain between this and this. That is if you are selecting 2 variables. Then, but I'll pick this one here. This format all cells based on their values. Lowest. Okay, this particular is not cells that contain specific text. Good. Diary. So I want to highlight cells containing diary. I can change the format, color white, border, and then the fill green. Sorry, I was meant, when you are typing text in Excel, you have to use applies to C1. That contain diary. Tries to be one. Sorry for that. Um, I didn't specify the range properly. So let me take it again so that we understand what I was doing. So what I want to do is clear the rules here. Okay, so what we want to achieve here is to highlight cells that contains the word diary, right? So I go to my conditional formatting. You can either come here and the quick formatting method that Microsoft has also prepared, or you can also create your own new rule. So I select the option of format only cells that contain. This is going to have to do with numbers, format all cells based on their values, while all cells that contain, and then I specify a specific text diary, and then click OK. Current selection. This worksheet select of graded scholar scale B to B, and then pick a format, and then the font white, and that's it. Um, this particular Excel file is part of what I'm going to be sharing alongside the tutorial, so we can, go through it and check the other examples that are there. There are quite a lot of examples there to on different scenarios that can be applied in a conditional formatting. This a conditional formatting with Icon. Um, if, for instance, you want to, let me try that so that I don't mess. I'm already messing this data. So if you have this, so I want to grade this based on high, low, and whatever, using icon to replace the data here. Best thing, what I've just done is I've duplicated these two columns. And then the next thing for me is to do what? Um, Go to my conditional formatting as usual again. What's going on? Okay, sorry. So you can also apply the quick formats here, or you can, create your own new rule. And then, so you see, formatter says, so this works based on their values. This inputting icon will work based on their values. And then I have formatter set based on their value. And then I can say icon set, can select the particular, oh, my internet. Then you can select whatever icon set you want to make use of. Which one should I? Let's just pick this. So I can say it should show an up sign when the value is I'm under unit price when the value is greater than. Greater than is when the arrow is pointing forward. Less than is when the arrow is pointing backward. So when the value is equals to and higher than let me see my unit price here, than 100. than 100. I have things less than 100 there. Let me say than 200. Than 200. Type is number. So it should show me an arrow that is going up. And when it is greater than and equals to, so I said 200 here. When it is greater than um, than 100 number, and then when it is, so automatically this will be, as you can see, when the value is greater than 200, it shows the upward sign going upwards. Then it shows more like a parallel sign when it is less than the value I've inputted at 200, and when it is greater than 100. And then it shows a downward sign when it is definitely less than 100, but when it is greater than, when it is less than 0, when less than 200. For the parallel sign is when less than 200 and greater than 100, why this downward sign is going to show every other one. So if I do that, sorry, I made one mistake here, and that is I'm meant to highlight the particular column which I want to. I keep making that mistake. So that will be K. You can just pick everything here, K to K, and click OK. So as you can see, this is another way, of displaying, of analyzing your data and displaying the information in a very quick. Anybody seeing this, without looking at the numbers, the icon gives them, a very good idea of what the figures, what it represents. So this is more like not just cleaning data, this is not preparing data, but this is presenting information. So there are so many other aspects that we could, you can play with, especially using conditional formatting. It's a it's a significant tool when you are trying to present information, based on, so you just need to specify the parameters and specify the criterias, and then use the ready-made tools that you have data bars, you have color set, icon set, and so on, that Microsoft Excel has already to present your information in a very, very informational way. Yes, very, very informational or descriptive way. This 1255, I guess I should just go back to my screen. Okay. I think we can unmute. Let me see if it's possible for me to unmute everybody. Unmute all. Mute all. Unmute. Hello? So basically, I think at this point, we would have to pause it and continue tomorrow. Um, but let's have a quick question and answer to, if there's any question actually, or if there's any point that we are not clear about. Hello? Than and less than arrows display in the conditional formatting. Okay, let me go through it just one more time again. So for instance, I have this, I'm going to work on this particular column now. So the first step, which I keep missing, is to highlight the column, right? Oh, sorry. Let me share my screen. Okay, so the first step, which, like I said, I keep missing, was highlight the particular column, then come to conditional formatting. Now, you can go the very fast way here, which is icon set, click on it, and automatically it imputes the this thing. Um, why I went through that one is so that I can specify the various parameters. So let me clear the rules from the entire sheet. So I come here again, I click on new rules, and then I say format all cells based on their values. This is the option, the rule type, and then icon set. When I click icon set, you can, pick which type of icon you want to make use of. There are so many different icons here. So I select this particular icon, and then the upward icons is when value is, I have to specify that. So when the value is greater than and equals to, like I said, I pick 200. When the value is greater than and equals to 200, change this to number, especially when you are not using percentage, 200. And then the parallel sign is definitely when it is less than 200 and greater greater than 100. So every other one, definitely the downward sign is good to be when it is greater than 0 and less than 100. And then I click OK. So as you can see, items that are above 200 have the upward sign there. The items that are between 200 and 100 have the parallel or the straightforward sign, the horizontal sign. And then items that are below 100 automatically have the downward sign. That's for that. Um, So I guess we can bring the meeting to an end. Okay, so let me say it was nice having you guys around. So tomorrow we'll continue by 10 o'clock. Um, I believe that one will be more much more interesting. We should be able to cover more grounds and hopefully um, get more people to attend. So thank you very much and thank you for your time.